Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make more than just a card. We're going to make a card with a gift that lives after it. Right now we can find so many wooden cutouts at Dollar Tree, Dollarama, dollar stores, and even home reno stores. When you see them, grab them. We can turn them into art and gifts. I recently made a video where I took these three cutouts, wooden cutouts that I got at dollar store, Dollarama, Amazon, and I transformed them into work of art. I even talk about other ways to use them. But let's put them in the card. It's in the card for this one. I'm working on a piece of foam board, and you'll see I've written the word fold at the top. This card base that I have, I picked up at Michael's. We'll talk more about that at the end. I am taping it down to the foam core to have a white border around it. Now I've gessoed the surface and I'm going to add a base coat of color. The reason I gessoed it is so that the colors blend a little more easily on the surface instead of soaking into the paper. The card base that I use, as I said, I got from Michael's few years ago, but it's not exactly high quality and it was kind of warping. That's why I wanted to gesso it to give it a little bit more structure. Now there's the cutout that I've decorated, and I'm thinking that I'm going to use it. So I kind of want to make a background that the cutout is going to show up on. I'm stamping with a dot stamp, adding some script stamp with acrylic paint here. I just basically want to make an interesting background, just like you would on an art journal page or any other mixed media piece. The steps really are the same. You could be doing this on a 5x7 canvas board, not on a card base. I'm adding a little black stamping here. I just want to make my background interesting, but I want the wooden cutout to be the focal image. I don't want it to get lost on the background. So that background I'm thinking is done. Here I'm taking bright aqua, Liquitex bases, bright aqua, and Prussian blue, and again mixing it wet on wet with a makeup sponge on the gessoed sheet, gessoed card base. I love how you get that modeled look. Now I put that one aside. We'll come back and finish it. I grab some bright green here and add it again. The more messy it is, the better it is. That's easy texture and visual interest that you didn't have to work too hard with. Now I'm adding a little bit of blue into there. Blue and green always looks good. I have this stamp. I think it's called a foliage cube. I did get it at Michael's years ago, but I have seen it on Amazon. If I find the link, I will link it. And I'm just stamping the leaves on there. If you don't have a stamp like this, use anything that resembles leaves. You can use a stencil. I have lots of leaf stencils, and I could have easily have grabbed them. The point is, use your stamps, use your stencils to add pattern. And as you see, I'm not trying to get perfectly great stamps. The messier kind of the better here. So I'm thinking I'm going to put that gnome cutout on that one, the tree on this one. I like how they stand out on the background, and this one. You can check out that video where I use a variety of techniques to create and paint and mix media up those cutouts. Here I'm adding some stenciling. And some stamping. And again, I've taped it down on that foam core in order to keep it flat and to achieve a white border around the edge. I like that look, which is why I chose to go with that. Now, in this video, I learn a lot. I'm not going to say I made mistakes, but I learned a lot as I went. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you, kind of do a recap and tell you what I would do differently when I make more of these, because I plan to make more of them. I'm adding some blue stamping because there's that blue on there. Now, before I take off the tape, I am using it to shade around. It's just easier to do. I'm not going to get it on the white part because it's taped off. Then I'm using the heat tool to loosen the glue from the tape and pull off the tape. We're ready to proceed to the next step. So I got these alphabet stencils. I believe these are 3 inches. I will link where I got them because you can get them in different sizes. I got the 3-inch, the 4-inch. I think they come in 2-inch, and they're a great staple to have in your stash. Now my plan is to have the word joy there with the ornament in the middle. I lined it up across the bottom and taped it down so it doesn't move. And now I'm using a coordinating color. I could have gone all black, but here I've chosen to use Prussian blue, which is what I stamped the foliage in. And I'm putting the paint on the makeup sponge and tapping off on the side so it doesn't seep under. I want pretty straight edges. And then just easily pull it off because this is going in the mail and I'm already added texture. I didn't want to add any more texture, but you could have put texture paste through those letters. So this one, there's the red on the hat of the gnome. So I thought, I'm going to do it in red, and I'm so glad I did. This was definitely a win. I really like how this turned out with the red against the blue aqua background. And this one I'm just going to put in place. So you see, I'm kind of doing this assembly line, and when I do multiple makes, that really saves time and cleanup. And once you figure it out, you're good to go. Here I'm using phthalo green and some Prussian blue. Again, I'm trying to match the color that I see on the gel print that I put on that tree. So right now I'm tracing it with my Inktense pencil. And then I'm grabbing my angle brush and I'm going to activate that in order to bring out the outline of the tree. My thought here was when the tree isn't there, because the tree is an ornament, it's a gift that the person will be able to take off the card and keep long after the card has been either discarded. But I thought maybe it'd be nice to actually still have the card. So I wanted to have the imprint of it. And it worked not bad with the tree, but here with the gnome, I'm not exactly loving it. So I'm trying to think, okay, what would I do? And again, I will tell you that all at the end. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. So I'm just going through the same process, tracing it, activating it, and moving on. But as I said, this presented me with some troubleshooting because I wasn't exactly happy. So I gave it a wash of color and I thought, okay, that looked okay. So I go back and I'm giving this a wash of color behind the gnome. Which is giving me more problems to solve. So here I give a wash on the tree. I like that you can see the patterning below. But as a card without the ornament there, I'm not exactly fond of it. I grab my fine line applicator and I do faux stitching around the letters. This really brightens the page and I love this addition. They say by the time you're done a project, you know how to do the project, and that's definitely the case. Then I do some sketchy lines around the outside. And then I proceed with the other cards. If you like what happens, then you do it again. And if you don't like what happens, you try to solve the problem and do something else. And sketchy lines. Multiple makes, assembly line, very quick. Then I thought, okay, what if I put the faux stitching around that middle piece? And in this one, I think I like it better. Again, not so much, it didn't work with the gnome, so I decided maybe I need a few more lines to make him look like a gnome here. So I try. Not sure I succeeded. And a good splatter of gold. And then I'm putting some tape on the back and taping it to the front so the person can just peel it off and hang it on their tree. It's an imperfect system, but you know what? Basically, it's going to work. I can write something in the card, and the gift is the tree ornament. So what would I do differently? Well, first off, I would use mixed media cards, not the inexpensive card base that I use. It was too flimsy and it's not supporting the thing. I would also omit the white border. As much as I like the white borders, I would paint it right to the edge. When it comes to the ornament, I would probably just decorate the one side of the ornament and put Velcro on it and Velcro it on so that it's more permanently or professionally attached to the card base. And if you use the mixed media base, it's going to support it. I love the ornaments. Which one do you like? Be sure to check out the video where I show all the techniques and the different supplies that you can use. Love the red lettering. Love how the colors work. There's so many wins here. I hope you give this a try. Learn from my mistakes. And don't forget, you can get wood cutouts that aren't Christmas related and make cards with them. Until next time, go get creative.